What's up, Foundation? What's up, YouTube? Man, it's me, your big partner, Cartoon, the Village Storyteller. Man, I'm back again, man. I'm back again for another installment of Here Comes the X.clan. So here it is. We're going to jump straight into it. So here it is. Now they done figured out that what they went through is true. They figured out that it ain't no joke. It ain't no game. That they have really ran into otherworldly beings and that they have become something more than themselves. They still tripping on it in their mind. They still in their mind, in their mental, going through it like, what? You know what I'm saying? Here it is. 6 unlikely people, 6 unlikely characters have come together, have been called together under no power of their own. Things that were worked behind the scenes, things were worked in other realms, things that were worked out by the gods have brought these 6 kids together to form a super group called the X.clan. Now they have been imbued with powers beyond their imagination. Now what it is for them to do is learn how to use them, learn how to work together, learn how to come together as one. Because they had many trials and tribulations coming their way. And they were told that. But now in their mind, they were all intelligent enough to know that with these type powers mean that things, they would be coming at them with powers that with powers enough that they needed their powers to equal it. So they know they was in for a hoorah. They know they was in for a woohoo. But they were gonna face it. They made it back to the hotel. They made it back to their rooms. No problem. Within a few days, they had to leave. They were on their way back to the States. They were on their way back to Los Angeles. They made it back. They all exchanged numbers. And they all, agreed that they would have to get together and that they would have to figure this out. Okay, now, with Jamal being the leader, with Jamal being Osiris, he had the power to summon the X.clan no matter where they were, no matter what they were engaged in, at any time. He had that power. After about a day of being back in Los Angeles, they hadn't spoken with each other. You know what I'm saying? Everything was still fresh in their mind, still kind of tripping them out, and they hadn't really spoke with each other. So one night, about the 3rd night, hold on, move, dog, come excuse me. Move, doggy. Get your butt somewhere and be still. Come here. Now move. My bad, y'all. So one night, Jamal got up and he went downstairs. He went into the backyard of where he lived. So he said, "No, can't do this right here." So he took off walking. As he took off walking, if it ain't the dog, it's the cat. Anyway, so when he took off walking, he made it to the park in his neighborhood. And it was a certain part of his park that was real dark in the back. Real dark in the back. And he's like, you know what? It's time. You know what I'm saying? We got to... You better get your butt... Okay. Got to try it out. So now he put his hands out. And he summoned the staff of Ra. And it appeared. Boom. And he took it. Boom. And now I summoned the X.clan. And they all appeared. When he summoned the X.clan, he transformed. And the rest of them appeared in their transformed bodies. Osiris, Nefertiti, Pharaoh, Queen Sheba, Zulu. They appeared. And boy, they struck a cold figure. They struck a Zulu. And they just stood around, they looking, they like, what's up? So Osiris told him, man, look, we haven't spoken. He said, but I received a message. He said, and they asked him, you received a message from who? He said, from Amun-Ra, from Ra himself. So they like, well, what was the message? He said, we are to go to the east. And they was like, what do you mean to the east? He told me that our arch nemesis has rearisen. Because we have rearisen, our arch nemesis has rearisen. And they was like, well, who is our arch nemesis? Who is our arch nemesis? He said, I don't really know yet. He said, we would know when we see him because we would know them and they would know us. So they were like, well, where exactly are we going? And he said, Japan. So, okay, so how are we supposed to get there? He said, I have the means. Like, what do you mean I have the means? He said, I can teleport us there. They was like, what? And then, you know what I'm saying? You know, the ones who had the power of flight, they like, you know, we got the power of flight. So all of them was like, we don't, you know what I'm saying? Zulu, Big Zulu was like, I ain't got no power of flight. I can't fly. And Osiris told him, leap. Said, leap. He said, yeah, leap up in the air. You're like, what do you mean leap up in there? He said, leap up in the air as hard as you can. So Zulu with his big 11 foot tall body, strong body, he squatted down. He just leaped. Boom. Man, he shot up in the air so far you couldn't even see him no more. And they was all looking like, what? Man, it took about 10 minutes. It took about 5-10 minutes before he came back down. Next day, you know, he come back down. Boom, hit the ground. He was down, just stood up and looked. And so the Sphinx asked him, man, where did you go? He said, man, almost out of the outer atmosphere. They were like, what? So Osiris told him, he said, you might not have the power of flight. He said, but with your innate strength ability, you can jump so far that people, you're going to think you flying. So they was like, okay. But now his staff did have the power of teleportation for them. And he asked him, he said, y'all ready? He like, yeah, we ready. Shoot, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Whew. They teleported. They appeared in Japan. They were in the outskirts in a small little province. And as Osiris was holding the staff of Ra, it spoke to him. But it spoke to all of them. And it told them, head into town. Head into the town. They ended up making it to the town. They still didn't know what to look for. They had transformed back into their regular bodies. So now, of course, that made them stand out. Here it is. You got 6 black kids from South Central Los Angeles, dressed in all type of different attires, walking through a small province in the country of Japan. People was looking at them, saying stuff that they couldn't understand, but they knew that they were here for a reason. They knew they had to find somebody. They made it into the city. And as they were walking, people were looking, but they just kept walking. All they knew is whoever they were looking for, that eventually they would run across them, and they would know them when they see them, and them would know them when they see them. They were coming down the street. It was a festival going on. And it was a lot of people lined up on both sides of the street as the festival was going on. They had the little paper dragons and kites and different little costumes and stuff going on. And everybody, a lot of people was dressed up, you know what I'm saying, in all type of anime type stuff and different little costumes. Because whatever this festival was, you could dress up. And as they were walking, they all got a cold feeling like, hold on, like somebody was watching them. So they all stopped and started looking around. And as one of the festival floats went through, the little dragon thing, it was two dudes standing across the street just staring at them, mad dogging them. They looked like two regular, ordinary gentlemen. They were a little tall to be Asians because both of them was at least 6 feet. And you just want to be part of it, huh? Say hi. Say hi, y'all. That's Mr. Wiggles. Stink. Stink. He just wanted to be a part, though. And they looking at him, and as they all beamed down on him, they got an eerie feeling. They was like, what? You know, and it dawned on him. He said, that's what we looking for. And as they were walking, so they were gonna walk across the street. They was waiting for the parade to come by. Parade was so long that they walked through the parade, through the middle of the street of the parade. And as they got closer, the dudes turned around and faded off and went down the alley. They followed them down the alley, and as they were following, the dudes took off running. They all took off running behind both of them. They thought they had lost them. They came to a clearing on another street and through the alley. And when they came out to this open like warehouse area. And they was looking around. They was like, where did they go? I said, I don't know. I still got this eerie feeling though. So Cyrus, he, with him being smart, he like, that mean they somewhere around here still. So as they looking around, it was a big warehouse in front of them. On top of the warehouse building, both of them came to the edge and was looking down. And then one of them spoke. And he asked them, he said, what are 6 children from the descendants of the Dark Coast doing here? So now, what he basically saying, because he's old school, this dude here is something different. But he really asked him what 2 black kids doing here. But when he say descendants of the Dark Coast, he's speaking of Africa. So he had asked him, what are 6 children of the descendants of the Dark Coast doing here? And so Cyrus asked him, who are you? And the one dude said, I'm Tai Po. And the other dude said, I'm Long June. So he said, Tai Po and Long June. He said, come down here. We want to speak with you. And so Tai Po had asked him again. He said, what are 6 children, 6 descendants of the people from the Dark Coast doing here? And so, with Osiris being, with Jamal being how he is, he said, I think we're here for you. So they looked at each other. He said, I believe you are. And they both leaped. Boom. And by the time they landed on the ground in a purple haze, Tai Po and Long June wasn't there no more. In their place stood 2 ninjas, 2 tall ninjas, but they were very more muscular. No shirts on. They had crazy emblems tattooed on their body, and their eyes was glowing. And when they looked up, they had weapons. Where the weapons came from, they don't know. But after all that they've been going through, this didn't even shock them no more. And so when they stood up, Typo, the one who spoke it first, he said, "I'm Strychnine." And the other one stood up. He said, "I'm Hemlock." Now, for y'all out there who don't know, Strychnine and Hemlock are two very, very, very potent poisons. Strychnine is a poison. Hemlock is a poison. And they had long, long pikes. If you don't know what a pike is, it's like a long, long rod with a sword on the end of it. They about 12 feet long with a sword on the end. And both of them had one. And they stood up, man, their skin was glowing. They had cuffs and they had all type of stuff on, big boots. And Strychnine told him, "We know who you are. We know what you come for. Tonight you will die." So Quan Quan being outspoken as he is, man, he looked at Jamal and told him, "Man, what you waiting for, man? Let's do this." Boom! I summoned the X.clan. And in a flash of bright light, boom, the X.clan appeared. Osiris, Nefertiti, Queen Sheba, the Pharaoh, the Sphinx, and Zulu. Wasn't no talking about it. They said wasn't no talking. What, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it. Both groups rushed at each other. When they rushed at each other, Strychnine and Hemlock, they were very, very proficient in all forms of martial arts weaponry. Man, they come in with them long pikes, them long staff with the sword on the end. They want to turn the X-Clan into shish kebabs. Shoot, man. The Pharaoh stepped up and he crossed his two staves. And he told him, "By the power of the Egyptian gods." And a lightning bolt, boom, boom, just shot out towards Strychnine and Hemlock. They blocked it. They ended up blocking it. Boom, boom. They blocked it with their staves. And by the time they blocked it, they was in there now. Boom. They trying to give it all they got. They bumping. They thumping. The Sphinx come up with both his swords of Anubis. Ping, ping, ping. He blocking them. Nefertiti floated up into the air. And while she's floating, she's doing incantations. And she hit Strychnine with what's called a cone of cold. She tried to freeze him. Ice blocks start forming around his body. She was going to encase him in a block of ice. He flexed, boom, and pow, blocked the ice. Soon as he blocked ice, though, he was caught across the face from Osiris and the staff of Ra. Boom! It knocked him about 20 feet across the ground. Boom, he hit the ground and rolled and shook his head and got back up. Hemlock tried to cut Osiris. When he tried to cut him, he was coming down with him from the back. Osiris didn't see it coming. But Queen Sheba, boom, with her axe, she caught it. Bang! When she caught it, she knocked it back. Whew. When she knocked it back, she spun in a complete circle. Remember, she got 4 arms. And with her other hand, she fired on Hemlock. Boom! It knocked him back. He rolled and got up. When they rolled and got up, they rushed him again. When they rushed him again, they was locking up. Hemlock jumped off Strychnine's back, way into the air, and he was coming down. He was coming down on the top of Zulu's head. Zulu looked up at him and laughed. little man with little sword. When it was coming down, Zulu caught it between both of his hands. Boom! Before the blade could come through and hit him. When he caught it with both of his hands, he took it and he threw it. So Hemlock and his long spear flew across the floor again, but he flipped real agile and landed. Boom, boom. So now here it is. Hemlock and Strychnine, they realized that in the form that they were in, they weren't going to be no match for the X.clan. They came together. Each of them held their staff. Hemlock in his left hand, Strychnine in his right hand. And they grabbed each other's hands. And they say, by the power that is invested in us, I, Strychnine, and I, Hemlock, we come together to form Cyanide. And when they said that, man, it was a bright light again. Boom. And when the light cleared, stop it, dog. And when the light cleared, man, a monster, dude, man, so goddamn big. If he was every bit about 15 feet tall. I'm talking about huge. He became armor plated with a helmet on, and he had an axe in his hand. Man, it looked like a red oak green tree, a red oak tree. And it was two-part. It had a chain in the middle of it, then a whole nother part. And he was sitting there swinging it. Woof, woof, and they stepped back and they looked. They was like, what is this? So Osiris, he said he's transformed. He's come together. So now here it is. One was already named Strychnine and the other one was named Hemlock. When they come together, they formed a giant creature called Cyanide. Now, cyanide is one of the most potent poisons that you're going to ever run across. That's why one was already Strychnine, one was already Hemlock, and they came together to form Cyanide. The X.clan knew they was in for a fight now. They knew they was in for a fight. Osiris took the staff and he slammed it on the ground. And when he slammed it on the ground, he hollered, I am here. Boom. And he transformed again, though. A little bit bigger, just a little bit taller, just a little bit. But now, instead of some of his body being adamantium plated, the whole body had transformed like Colossus on the X-Men. It looked like he was made out of pure steel. And he was glowing bright. And the first thing he said was, X.clan, form up. And they all formed up in back of him. And they rushed straight at Cyanide. And he rushed straight at them. That's where I'm going to end it, y'all. Peace.